Money doesn't care about your morals. Power doesn't care about your intentions. They flow toward those who understand the rules. Not the rules society pretends exist, the real rules. The ones operating beneath every transaction, every relationship, every empire ever built. And here's the truth that breaks most people. Everything you've been taught about money and power was designed to keep you from having either. Because those who have them don't want competition. They want compliance. And the best way to ensure compliance is to fill your head with beautiful lies about virtue, fairness, and waiting your turn. While you wait, they take everything. What you're about to learn exists in the shadows of economic and social reality. Most people will spend their entire lives confused about why they work hard but stay poor, why they play fair but get exploited, why they follow the rules but watch rule breakers win. But you're different. You're here because something inside you already knows the game is rigged, and you're ready to learn how it actually works. This isn't theory. This isn't inspiration. This is the architecture of how money and power actually move in the real world. Drop one word in the comments: awake. Mark the moment you stopped believing the fairy tales. Truth 1. Money is a weapon, not a reward. Money isn't compensation for your effort. It's leverage for controlling outcomes. The moment you see money as something you earn through hard work and good behavior, you've already lost. Because that's the employee mindset, the servant's perspective, the controlled thinking they installed in you. Money is a tool of power. Those who understand this use it to buy time, influence, assets, and optionality. Those who don't understand this trade their time for it, then wonder why they're always running out of both. Machiavelli understood. Gold will not always get you good soldiers, but good soldiers can always get you gold. Translation: power precedes wealth. Control precedes compensation. Look at how billionaires operate. They don't work for money. They create systems that generate money. They don't save money. They deploy money to create more money. They don't hoard money. They use money to buy leverage in every domain that matters. Bezos didn't get rich by working harder than you. He built a system. Musk didn't get wealthy through discipline. He acquired leverage. Gates didn't earn his fortune. He controlled a monopoly. The game isn't effort. It's architecture. Here's how you apply this. Stop asking, how do I make more money? And start asking, how do I create systems that generate money without my constant input? Stop seeing money as the goal and start seeing it as ammunition. You don't earn your way to wealth. You build, buy, or take your way there. But here's the warning. The moment you start seeing money as a weapon, you'll notice how everyone around you is using it. Your employer uses it to control your time. Your government uses it to control your behavior. Your relationships involve it as leverage, whether you admit it or not. Once you see this, you can't unsee it.
and you'll never look at a paycheck the same way again.
Truth 2. Power is taken, never given. No one in power will voluntarily hand you any. They'll offer you titles, responsibilities, recognition, the appearance of power. But actual power, that you have to take. Because power is zero-sum in the short term. Every bit you gain is a bit someone else loses. And they know this, which is why they'll never freely give you the real thing. Robert Greene wrote, "The key to power is the ability to judge who is best able to further your interests in all situations." But the deeper truth is, those in power are always judging whether you're a threat or a tool. If you're useful, they'll keep you close and powerless. If you're dangerous, they'll keep you distant or destroyed. The only path to power is making yourself dangerous enough that they must negotiate, not dismiss. Look at political history. No revolution succeeded by asking nicely. No empire fell because they voluntarily abdicated. No meaningful power transfer happened through good behavior. Power transfers through leverage, through force, through strategic positioning that makes your rise inevitable and your suppression too costly. In your life, this means stop waiting for permission. Stop hoping someone will notice your value and promote you. Stop believing hard work alone will elevate you. Instead, build independent leverage. Create value they can't ignore. Develop skills they can't replace. Position yourself where you become necessary, not optional. The application? Identify where power actually sits in your environment, not titles, actual decision-making authority and resource control. Then systematically position yourself as indispensable to those power centers, while simultaneously building your exit options. The moment you can walk away is the moment they start listening. But here's the twist. The people in power aren't evil for protecting their position. They're just playing the game correctly, and they're counting on you not to. So the question isn't whether this is fair. The question is whether you're going to keep pretending it's something else.
Truth 3. Your poverty benefits someone's wealth. Your lack of money and power isn't an accident. It's a design feature. The economic system isn't broken. It's working exactly as intended for someone, just not for you. Every dollar you don't have, someone else does. Every hour you trade for minimal wages, someone else captures maximum value. Every purchase you make, someone else profits. Your debt is their asset. Your rent is their income. Your labor is their leverage. This isn't conspiracy. This is structure. Voltaire said, "It is difficult to free fools from the chains they revere." The modern equivalent, it's difficult to free workers from the systems they defend. Look at how wealth extraction works. You're paid less than the value you create. The difference goes up. Your expenses are designed to consume your income. Credit keeps you in perpetual debt. Inflation erodes your savings. Meanwhile, those with assets watch their wealth compound while they sleep. The game is simple. Keep you working, keep you spending, keep you slightly short of what you need to escape, keep you believing that your situation is your fault, not a feature of the system. Real estate investors need renters. Employers need employees who can't afford to quit. Credit card companies need people who carry balances. The entire apparatus depends on your controlled participation. Here's what you do with this information. Stop participating in your own exploitation. Every financial decision you make should be evaluated on one axis. Does this move me toward ownership or deepen my position as a resource for others? Ownership of assets, ownership of your time, ownership of systems that generate value. The sophistication, this doesn't mean become a hermit or drop out. It means play the game consciously, not unconsciously. Use the system without letting the system use you. But here's the dark reality. Most people never escape, not because they can't, because they won't. Because accepting this truth means accepting responsibility, and responsibility is heavier than resentment. So they stay angry at the wrong targets and poor for the right reasons.
Truth 4. Generosity is a luxury of the powerful. You can't afford to be generous until you have power. Until then, it's just sacrifice disguised as virtue. The poor give from their need and stay poor. The powerful give from their surplus and gain more. This isn't opinion, it's mathematics. When you have nothing, giving means subtraction. When you have everything, giving means investment. The return on generosity requires power as the entry price. Machiavelli wrote, "Injuries ought to be done all at once, so that being tasted less, they offend less. Benefits ought to be given little by little, so that the flavor of them may last longer." Translation: strategic generosity from power creates loyalty. Desperate generosity from weakness creates exploitation. Look at billionaire philanthropy. Gates gives away billions and his net worth increases. Bezos funds initiatives and expands his influence. Buffett donates and maintains control through foundation structures. They're not losing anything. They're deploying capital for influence, legacy, tax optimization, and social positioning. The ROI on their giving exceeds the cost. Meanwhile, the working poor donate to charities, help family members in crisis, lend money they'll never see again, and wonder why they can't get ahead. The difference isn't values, it's position. Here's how you think about this. Secure your own oxygen mask first. Build your power base first. Establish your leverage first. Then, if you choose, give from a position of strength rather than need. Don't let guilt manipulate you into premature generosity that keeps you powerless. Don't let others shame you for prioritizing your own position. The world doesn't reward martyrs, it exploits them. The application: stop giving what you can't afford to give. Stop helping people who would never help you. Stop sacrificing your position for people who won't even remember your name when you need support. This sounds cold. It's actually clarity. Because true generosity, the kind that actually changes lives, requires resources. And you can't build resources by constantly depleting them for others. The warning: people will call you selfish. Let them. Selfishness is just a word the powerless use to guilt the strategic. Build your position, then decide who deserves access to it.
Truth 5. Your time is the only asset you can't recover. Money can be remade. Reputation can be rebuilt. Relationships can be replaced. Time, gone forever.
Yet most people trade their most valuable asset, their remaining lifetime, for the least valuable return possible. They sell hours they'll never get back for money that barely covers survival. This is the core transaction of modern slavery. You give the irreplaceable, they give the replaceable. And somehow you're supposed to feel grateful. Seneca warned, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." But the modern addition is, the waste is systematic. You're trained to waste it, educated to waste it, incentivized to waste it. Look at the math. 40 hours a week, 50 weeks a year, 40 years of your life. That's 80,000 hours minimum. That's your finite existence. That's the only thing you actually have. And you're trading it for just enough money to show up and do it again tomorrow. The powerful understand this differently. They buy other people's time. They automate their income. They create leverage that decouples their earnings from their hours. They own systems, not jobs. You work in the business. They work on the business. You trade time for money. They trade money for more time. Here's the brutal question you need to ask yourself. At your current rate, how many years until you can stop trading time for money? 10 years? 20? 30? Never. If the answer is never, you're not building wealth, you're renting your existence. The application. Audit where your time goes, ruthlessly. Every hour should either generate compounding value or restore your capacity to generate compounding value. Everything else is a slow death. Stop accepting jobs that buy your time with no opportunity for equity or leverage. Stop spending your evenings on entertainment that generates zero value. This doesn't mean never rest. It means rest with purpose. It means every hour you exist should serve your autonomy, not someone else's profit. The sophistication. The goal isn't working more hours, it's decoupling income from hours entirely, building assets, creating systems, establishing streams that flow whether you're working or not. The warning. Most people will never do this. They'll be too comfortable, too afraid, too distracted, and they'll reach 65 having traded their entire existence for survival, not sovereignty. Don't be most people.
Truth 6. Debt is designed to keep you controlled. Debt isn't financial, it's psychological. It's a leash disguised as opportunity. The moment you owe money, you've surrendered freedom. Not just financial freedom, mental freedom, behavioral freedom. The freedom to take risks, to say no, to walk away. Debt makes you controllable, and the system knows this. Proverbs 22:7 states, "The borrower is slave to the lender." This isn't religious metaphor, it's economic mechanics. The person who owes must comply, must perform, must accept terms they'd otherwise reject. This is why consumer debt is normalized, why student loans are encouraged, why mortgages are celebrated, why carrying credit card balances is treated as normal adult behavior. Because a population in debt is a population that can't resist, can't strike, can't quit, can't rebel. They need the job, they need the system, they need compliance
to maintain access to survival. Look at the statistics. The average American has over $90,000 in debt. Not investment debt, not business debt, consumer debt. Money they borrowed to buy depreciating items and temporary experiences, now chained to jobs they hate because they need to service that debt. This is control architecture masquerading as financial services. Meanwhile, the wealthy use debt differently. They borrow against assets to buy more assets. They use other people's money to build leverage. Their debt generates more money than it costs. It's a tool, not a trap. Same mechanism, opposite outcome. The difference is understanding and positioning. Here's what you need to know. Every dollar of debt is a dollar of future labor you've already sold. You're spending tomorrow's time today. And interest means you're spending more time than you received value. The application: eliminate consumer debt with extreme prejudice. All of it. Credit cards, car loans, personal loans. Anything that doesn't generate more money than it costs to maintain. Then only use debt strategically to acquire assets that appreciate or generate income, to build leverage that compounds, never to consume, only to invest. The sophistication, the truly powerful, don't even use their own credit. They borrow against their assets at low rates, invest in higher return vehicles, and pocket the spread. Meanwhile, they keep their actual wealth protected and growing. But you can't do this while drowning in consumer debt. You have to clean your own house first. The warning: the system will make debt feel normal, necessary, smart even. Low monthly payments, easy approval, deferred interest, all designed to make you say yes before you've calculated the real cost. Calculate the real cost, then decide if you're willing to pay it. Most debt isn't worth the freedom it takes.
Truth 7. Information asymmetry is the real wealth gap. The difference between rich and poor isn't money, it's information. The wealthy know things you don't, see opportunities you can't see, access resources you don't know exist. And they guard this information asymmetry because it's the source of their advantage. Knowledge isn't just power, it's profit. And the profitable knowledge is deliberately kept from you. Nathan Rothschild famously said, "Who controls the information controls the world." He made his fortune by having information before everyone else, before telegraph, before markets could react. He knew first, he moved first, he won. This hasn't changed, it's just more sophisticated. Insider information in markets, network effects in deals, early access to opportunities, knowledge of tax strategies, understanding of legal structures, awareness of regulatory changes before they're public. The wealthy operate with information you'll never see on Google. They're in rooms where deals happen before they're deals. They know people who know things before those things become news. Meanwhile, you get your information when it's useless, after the move has been made, after the profit has been extracted, after the opportunity has closed. You're not competing on level ground. You're competing with outdated maps while others have real-time GPS and knowledge of every shortcut. Here's how this plays out. Two people, same starting capital. One has access to high-quality information networks, one doesn't.
10 years later, the outcomes aren't close. Not because of effort, because of information quality and timing. The application. Stop consuming free information designed for masses. Start investing in information designed for decision makers, paid newsletters, industry reports, insider communities, mentorship from people actually doing what you want to do. Stop trusting mainstream financial advice. It's marketing, not strategy. By the time information reaches you for free, it's propaganda or obsolete. Build information networks. Get close to people who know things before others do. Pay for access to rooms where real information flows. The sophistication? The most valuable information isn't data, it's interpretation. Any analyst can access the same economic reports. Few can interpret what it actually means and where to position before the market reacts. Cultivate judgment, not just knowledge. But here's the ruthless truth. Even this advice has limitations, because the truly valuable information will never be in a YouTube video, a book, or a course. It will be in private conversations between people who have something to lose by sharing it. Your job is to become worthy of those conversations.
Truth 8. Power protects itself by pretending it doesn't exist. The greatest trick power ever pulled was convincing you it's not there. Democracy, meritocracy, equal opportunity, free markets. These are the stories power tells to make its exercise seem natural, fair, inevitable. Meanwhile, behind the narrative, power consolidates, protects itself, reproduces itself, and ensures the same families, networks, and institutions remain at the top generation after generation. Social mobility exists, just barely enough to point to as evidence of fairness. But statistical social mobility and actual wealth/power transfer are different things. Oscar Wilde observed, "When the gods wish to punish us, they answer our prayers." Applied here, when power wants to pacify you, it gives you the illusion of possibility while maintaining structural advantage. Look at the data. Wealth concentration increases every decade. The same schools produce the same elite networks. The same families control the same resources. The same power structures perpetuate. But we're told it's merit. We're told it's fair. We're told anyone can make it. And just enough people do make it. Lottery winners held up as proof the lottery is fair, that the narrative sustains itself. This isn't conspiracy, it's emergent self-interest. Those with power naturally use it to maintain and extend power. They're not evil, they're rational actors protecting their position, as you would, as anyone would. But here's what matters. You need to see the game clearly to play it correctly. The application? Stop believing the meritocracy myth. Merit matters, but access matters more. Network matters more. Timing matters more. Luck matters more. And all of these can be engineered if you understand the real structure. Stop playing the visible game. Work hard, follow rules, wait your turn. Start playing the invisible game. Build networks, create leverage, position yourself at choke points where value flows. The visible game is for contestants.
The invisible game is for winners. The sophistication? You can acknowledge the game is rigged and still win. In fact, only those who acknowledge it can win, because they're not wasting energy being outraged by the rules. They're using energy to exploit them. The warning: once you see power clearly, you can't participate innocently. You either reject the game entirely and accept powerlessness, or you play knowing exactly what you're doing. Most people never see it clearly enough to face that choice.
Truth 9. Your morality is a luxury your competition can't afford. You want to be ethical, noble, good. Your competition doesn't have that constraint. And in the short term, that's their advantage. They'll lie while you tell the truth. They'll cheat while you play fair. They'll exploit while you cooperate. And they'll win repeatedly. This is the prisoner's dilemma at scale. If everyone cooperates, everyone wins. But if one person defects while everyone else cooperates, that person dominates. And someone always defects. Machiavelli wrote, "How we live is so far removed from how we ought to live, that he who abandons what is done for what ought to be done will rather learn to bring about his own ruin than his preservation." Translation: the world rewards what works, not what's right. Look at business. The companies that dominate aren't the most ethical. They're the most effective. Amazon destroys small businesses. Google monopolizes information. Facebook monetizes privacy. They win not through virtue, but through ruthless efficiency. The same patterns play out everywhere. The colleague who takes credit for your work gets promoted. The politician who lies most convincingly gets elected. The business that cuts corners increases profit margins. This isn't endorsing immorality. It's acknowledging reality. The game has players who don't respect the rules you respect, and if you pretend otherwise, they'll destroy you while you're still deciding what's fair. Here's the brutal calculus. You can be purely ethical and lose consistently to those who aren't. Or you can be strategically ethical, maintaining core principles while accepting that perfect virtue is a guaranteed losing strategy. The application? Define your non-negotiables, the lines you won't cross regardless of advantage. Then acknowledge that everything else is situational. Not every battle requires honor. Not every opponent deserves honesty. Not every situation warrants showing your full moral hand. Learn to modulate. With some people, cooperation and honesty are optimal. With others, strategic opacity and defensive positioning are survival. The sophistication? The most successful people aren't amoral. They're selectively moral. They extend trust to the trustworthy and ruthlessness to the ruthless. They mirror the ethics of their environment rather than imposing a fixed code that gets exploited. This is adaptive ethics, not situational ethics where anything goes, but responsive ethics where your behavior matches the reality of who you're dealing with. But here's the paradox. Long-term success actually requires
ethical foundations. Reputation, trust, and relationships matter. So you can't be purely Machiavellian without eventually destroying the social capital you need. The answer? Be ethical by default, ruthless when necessary, and wise enough to know the difference.
Truth 10. The real game isn't money, it's autonomy. Money is a means. Power is a means. The actual game is freedom. Freedom to do what you want. Freedom to refuse what you don't want. Freedom from dependence on systems, institutions, employers, or anyone else who can control you through your needs. Everything else, wealth, influence, status, is just ammunition in the pursuit of autonomy. Most people get this backward. They pursue money, thinking it's the goal. Then they get money and realize they're still controlled, still dependent, still requiring permission from banks, governments, employers, markets. They traded one master for another. Rousseau wrote, "Man is born free, and everywhere he is in chains." The modern update? Most people's chains are financial. They're gilded, they're comfortable, but they're still chains. True wealth isn't having money, it's having options. It's the ability to say no to anything that doesn't serve you, and yes to anything that does. It's waking up with zero obligations to anyone except yourself and those you've chosen. This is rarer than money. There are millions of people with money who are still slaves to maintaining it, protecting it, growing it. There are far fewer people who are genuinely free. Look at high-income professionals, doctors, lawyers, executives making $500,000 a year. Sounds like success, but they can't stop working. Their lifestyle requires that income. They have mortgages, private schools, social obligations. They're trapped at the top. Compare this to someone making less, but who owns their time, their location, their decisions, who has no debt, sufficient passive income, and complete autonomy. They're richer in the way that actually matters. Here's the framework. Money buys things. Wealth buys time. But autonomy buys freedom. And freedom is the only thing worth having. The application? Design your life for autonomy first, optimization second. Don't maximize income at the cost of freedom. Don't pursue status that comes with obligations. Don't build wealth that requires constant management. Build systems that run without you. Create income that flows whether you work or not. Maintain simplicity that doesn't require high maintenance. Keep your needs low so your requirements stay low. The sophistication? True autonomy is internal and external. External autonomy is resources and systems. Internal autonomy is not needing much to be content. The combination is unbreakable. Someone who needs private jets and yachts to be happy is less free than someone who's genuinely content with simplicity, because the former is controlled by their needs. The latter is controlled by nothing. The final truth? You can pursue money and power your entire life and die having never been free. Or you can pursue autonomy and discover that money and power are just tools you use along the way, not destinations worth reaching. 10 truths, 10 pills most people will never swallow. Not because they're hard to understand, but because they're hard to accept. Because accepting them means accepting responsibility. Accepting that your position isn't just bad luck or unfair circumstances. Accepting that the game you thought you were playing isn't the actual game. Accepting that everything you were taught was designed to keep you controllable. And that's terrifying, because if you accept it, you have to act on it. You have to change. You have to stop blaming and start building. Most people would rather stay comfortable in their confusion than uncomfortable in their clarity. But you're not most people. You made it this far, which means you're willing to see what others refuse to see, to know what others refuse to know, to do what others refuse to do. So here's what happens next. You take this information and you weaponize it, not against people, against your own limitations, against the systems designed to contain you, against the narrative that says you should stay small, stay grateful, stay in your lane. You build autonomy, ruthlessly, strategically, without apology. You stop playing the visible game where you're guaranteed to lose and start playing the invisible game where victory is actually possible. And you do it knowing that the people around you won't understand. They'll call you selfish, cynical, cold. Let them. Their comfort with their chains doesn't obligate you to wear yours. Money and power aren't evil, they're amoral. They flow to those who understand the rules and play accordingly. The question was never whether these truths are fair. The question is whether you're strong enough to operate in a world where they're true. Most aren't, but you might be. And that changes everything.